Welcome to Armchair Safari. Welcome back for a low energy Monday. It turns out that the Friday Fun stream on Friday, the video didn't work for some reason. So nothing got streamed. Absolutely nothing actually got out, which is super freaking sad because it was such a fun stream and we were looking at so much fun stuff. But well, that's just the nature of live streaming randomly during the workday, I guess. So anyway, this is Armchair Safari, the daily live stream where I find a piece of design online. We look at it and try to figure out how to become better designers. So we're trying to learn from design pieces by checking out what is good about this, what should we sort of apply to our own stuff, what is bad about this, what can we learn from this? And also, does this work for the end user, the most important thing? So to sort of partially make up for the stream, the wonky stream on Friday, what we're going to do is we're going to look at two things today. So we're going to learn two tiny tips here. The first one is from Fayaz Ahmed. Really freaking cool name. I don't know why I think it's so cool, but it just does sound pretty damn cool. If you want to follow along, by the way, there is a chat somewhere around this window, and the designs are in the description below or in the next post. Anyway, back to this. He says he added a tiny bit of rotate, your hover element, make things a bit playful. And oh my God, look at this. It's totally flat. It's just a tiny, tiny bit of rotate. It's not even like a fancy easing or anything. It's just like, it's really nice. It just feels so fun. Like the choice of colors, of course, makes it even more fun. But this is the type of tiny detail that can add so much personality to a design. In this case, he had these clear colors. They already looked fun and approachable. And instead of like doing some super fancy animation, like a swoop in or whatever, it's just adding a tiny bit of rotate to hover. And look at that. Like it's just nice. This is a really, really nice, subtle effect. And I think this is just completely underused on the internet today. We're currently in this trend where designers are going for these splashy, in your face animations. And honestly, I think you can probably achieve more personality through just adding tiny things like this. So, really good stuff, Fayaz. Fayaz, I don't know. Anyway, really cool stuff. Nice to be learning from you. And second example, we're learning from Nino. I'm not going to try to say that name on X, but he's a design engineer, so this is probably actually implemented, probably not just a design. And he has this light mode snapshot where this is extremely subtle. It looks really nice. It's a very, very like very pale palette. It also has like a really clear visual hierarchy, which is quite nice. There's a problem here though I'd like to discuss, but I just realized, being true to the format, I should actually step through the three things we look at, right? What's good, what's bad, what's does it work for the end user, and I should do that for us first. So, what's good? The thing that is good here is that a subtle detail can convey a lot of emotion and a lot of personality, so it doesn't have to be splashy. That's the good stuff. And I got a comment here from Eric Eng. What's this? Is way off. Let's see. Okay, so what's this? Where is the what's this? Was this the Ninos? Yeah, it is way off. It is way off. But hold on, we're getting back to that. We're coming back to Fias in a second. First, we're going to say that, so that's the good about this design. The bad about this design is that stuff like this can very easily become super overused and be a little annoying, especially when it's on hover. When you're trying to hover something or select something, don't get in the way of the defaults. Like, so many browsers interrupt holding the command button and opening a new tab, or right-clicking or selecting text in a clickable element. Jesus Christ. There's so much stuff like that going on. Fast doesn't seem to be doing that in this case, but it is something that we should remember. Do not get in the way of the platform. Use the defaults. And we got another question. Do focus states work? Oh, that's a very interesting question from Eric Eng in the stream. do focus states work? I mean, in this case, these are hovers, but they should focus states should you can absolutely do animations on focus states. Um, that sounds actually very interesting. Yeah, so the this is just a video. I can't tab it, unfortunately. I wish I could, but no. That is interesting though. If you would tab through this or select it, what would it do? Could you have a different thing on that? That would be super freaking cool. That is a very, very, very interesting question. What could you do on the focus state that gives this type of personality to it? All right, so the last thing we need to look at is, of course, does this work for the end user? Hell yeah. I mean, this is just going to add a little bit of playfulness to it, and I think they would love it. Oh, look at that. Fias is actually in the stream. Hey, man. Nice to get to know you. Nice to learn from you. Actually, how do you pronounce the name? No, you can't. You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to tell me through the chat. It doesn't work. You have to tell me later. Is this a live project though? I would love to know because Eric just asked a second ago if there are other states we could explore, like on focus. So are there? Post in the chat if there are. While we're waiting for that to go by, because I can see from the chat messages that my responses are like a couple of seconds after I get the chats. So, oh my God, look at that! I actually said the name right. Can't believe it. Holy shit! That's probably the first name I didn't butcher since I started this show like 80 episodes ago. Anyway, all right. So really playful, really nice. Thank you, Fias, for telling us that. Oh my God. And there is a link. There is something for us to look at. Look at this. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, this does look really nice. Ooh, actually, I like this even better. Look at that dazzle effect. You can't see it, right? The sparkle. Really freaking cool. Love the subtle grid in the background. And I mean, I'm pretty sure, oh, just like we discussed a second ago, interrupting the platform is unfortunate. In this case, it's a little bit frustrating not to be able to select something, even though in this case I totally understand why. So let's see, does this still trigger on tab, which was Eric's question earlier? No, the only tabbable element on the entire page is this pop-up from Crisp. All right, so nothing else is tabbable. That is also a bit of an interruption of the platform. Not the best, but it's very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much for showing us, Vyas. This is awesome. Really appreciate this. And anyone who wants to check it out, there's the link. And I'm going to post this in the next tweet as well, just in case. And let's head over to the second design we were looking at. So this is again from Nino. Wow, what happened here? Why did it break? There we go. This second part is from. Oh no, Eric says I need to config the browser. What do I need to do? Oh no. Anyway, let's look at this. So this is a very, very subtle light effect. It's beautiful. And Eric's comment earlier was that the what's this is way off. It is a very interesting position, yeah. It is definitely aligned with the border of the box instead of aligning with what would be the text indent of the box. So this is the end of the box, which perfectly aligns, but the text probably ends here within the border radius, which would be totally, totally inside it. So it does feel like it's skewing a little bit to the right. It's very, very interesting little detail there. But that's not actually what I was hoping to talk about here, because he has a zoom in of this super, super sleek gradient, and there's a bit of a wonk here. So in this case, these lines overlap and create an additional darkness in the corner. I'm not sure that works. Like that is, first of all, that's probably quite difficult to code, but it's also very strange to see. Like, because in this case, what we're projecting here is that this is actually like an overlay of opacity, or that it somehow should be stronger here. I'm not quite sure why. It would be really, really interesting to learn from Nino why he did this, because it's a very, very strange choice. I mean, I can't see it here from the overview. It's very, very interesting. So I think this is just an artifact of the design, so a bit of a mistake, but I don't know that. We can just judge it from what it is. We don't have the full context. Okay, so what is good about this? What is bad about this? And does this work for the end user? So the visual hierarchy is very, very good. It's very clear where you're supposed to start and end. It's very clear what you're supposed to do. The bad, this is actually why I brought this in, because the first time I saw this, I was like, oh my God, that looks great. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, ooh, there are quite a few things to think about here. So first thing, come with me on this journey. Look at the screen and squint. As soon as you do, you're going to see that there's absolutely no way to tell unless it's perfect lighting, probably like a Mac screen. There's no way to tell the gray from the white. The contrast is just so incredibly low that you can't see any of this as soon as you squint just a little bit. So if you're not in perfect lighting, or if you're on I'm very sorry, but if you're on an old PC, you're just not going to see this. It's going to look white, and that's not going to be as nice. So this is probably a little too light. And we discussed this overlapping thing already. And it's just slightly strange. And Eric weighed in with what's this? Uh, he says that a horizontal line for reference would help. What does that mean in this case? Horizontal is right to left for reference. Around the what's this, or in general? Let's see if he comes back with that. So it could probably be slightly indented. It would be interesting to just try that to see what happens, but I'm not sure. We have the horizontal lines that make it very clear that these are distinct fields. But if we didn't, it wouldn't actually be that clear, because this design violates a part of grouping, visual grouping. So it's generally known as, what is it called? Oof. Oh, there's like a fancy German word for this, which I totally know and should know when I'm streaming about it. Anyway, let's get interrupted instead. So Eric just said, around the what's this to clearly establish the column width. That way it would align to the right end of the line. Yeah, that would be very interesting, actually. That would be very interesting. So what he's suggesting here is that you would add an additional horizontal line that is the same width of the column to sort of lead the eye, or to guide the eye to see that things are aligning, that they don't look disjointed just because they have different visual weights. It's a very, very interesting point. And it says, or something at least, not just floating in midair, which is exactly the point I wanted to come to while talking about this grouping things, because there's a ton of stuff here floating in the air. So this is close enough to the box to make sense that they are related, but the completion status isn't really there. That it's floating quite freely. If there wasn't this line, you wouldn't really think that this was a unit. The same thing is kind of true with these things down here. The texts are close enough that they make sense, but the checkbox isn't. And look at this. The checkboxes, they don't align. This looks really strange. I'm not quite sure why he did this. It could be the line height of this text that is just messing with the positioning a little bit. It's quite hard to tell. So this is a great example of when something looks nice, but if you would actually spend a little time tweaking these tiny things to make the things seem more grouped, make it a little clearer for the eye what it's supposed to follow, you'd see a massive improvement in how clean this looks and how effortless this looks, which is a very strange sort of side effect of how design like this works. The grouping law, it's called a pregnance law. Let's see. What are the laws of pregnance? They are all sorts of interesting things about how the human brain handles things. Oh yeah, Gestalt was the word I was looking for. The pregnance laws are specifically the laws of proximity, I think. Anyway, so there's the law of similarity where things that look the same get grouped the same. So this is just about how you visually see things, not about how you understand them. But of course, if you see them first in a certain way, you're going to then interpret them that way. And the law of proximity states that things that are closer together look like they're grouped together, which is exactly the thing that is sort of getting default. It's not really working here. The lines make this obvious enough, but you wouldn't have to have the lines there if you were following this a little closer and if things were tightened up just a little bit. There are more interesting things like this to know. I think there's like 7 of them or something like that, and they're all super useful for visuals. Totally recommend checking out the Gestalt laws. And yeah, so that's it for the negative. Indenting text is not needed in this case. Yeah, yeah. So this is again Eric coming in with really good design tips here. Totally right. You wouldn't actually have to indent the text here at all, which is very, very interesting. So there's a bunch of stuff here that could definitely be improved. I'm not saying we should do it. I'm just saying it could be. And Eric weighs in with, I think, the perfect tip to end the stream on, which is keep a clear, strict grid. Yes, always. So whenever you're outlining a view like this, always try to figure out what is the grid you're going for, because humans love grids and it would make everything feel calmer and more sorted. It is the cheapest shortcut to creating a really beautiful design, just adding a clear, strict grid. And this also actually comes back to the laws of Gestalt, because the reason why grids work is because of this law of closure and law of proximity. You see things as belonging together. You see things as ordered if they're structured in a grid. So totally great, great tip there. And finally, final question for today, does this work for the end user? And see, here is when I realized that this design actually falls apart. I know I'm bashing a little bit here, which I shouldn't, because I know that Nino actually thought about this. This is just an example, right? So this is not something he made incorrectly or anything. This is just an example. But does this work for the end user? No, because there's no possible way for the user to go away from this screen. And do they know when they checked one of these boxes if it works or not? No. So this doesn't work for the end user. Now, again, not bashing Nino here. He thought about it. I'm just saying that this is a good example of how you should think about the fact that there must be a way for the user to actually go past this screen. Always. Can't think in screens, have to think in flows. Always. Anyway, awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out in the chat, guys. This was really fun, and I will see you again tomorrow. This is Armchair Safari, the daily design stream where I find a piece of design online and try to learn from it. And yeah, I think we learned a lot today. I opened this by saying it was a low energy Monday, but it became like the highest energy episode in a while. Oh, look at whoa, wait a minute. Fayas just came back. It said focus states are now live on the site. How is the focus state live? Weird, I can click that. Sorry, give it a moment. Oh, it's probably building. Love this. I love the fact that we're too quick. This is freaking awesome. Yeah, hard refresh definitely. Try Chrome? Absolutely not. If you have a Mac, do not have Chrome installed on your Mac. It will kill your battery. It still does for some reason. I don't know why. So I use Brave and Arc intermittently and just switch back and forth. Eric says he's getting the focus states already, and I'm not. So this is definitely a, okay, let's do this. This is could be, or this is probably likely Safari messing. So no more caches. And get rid of this. Oh, now as far as we can go. I'm still just getting this. No. Oh my God. And he did something beautiful for us and we can't see it because of Safari. Well, we can't have that, can we? All right, we're gonna have to find another browser. Can we open another window? Yes, we can. Let's see if I can share this instead. Let's double check that I have. Yes, I do. Oh my God, that looks freaking awesome. Okay. How do I, there we go. Share, screen, window, next window. Okay, cool. Here we go. Oh my God. Yes. So now everything has a focus state and it triggers on focus. I mean, totally unnecessary, but absolutely beautiful. That is so freaking cool. Well done for us. Really cool suggestion, Eric. This is really freaking awesome. And there was nothing wrong with Safari. It just didn't get the latest version for some reason. I don't know why, but Safari is what Safari does. Anyway, cool. That's awesome to see. So thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out in the chat, and see you all tomorrow when we're looking at some other piece of design. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye.